So Tundra's back-to-back-to-back-to-back streak just ended. Heroic of all people swept them. Liquid finally wins something after, I think, way too long, and wins against NAVI. The kids got to the actual grand final, and again, BLAST is already changing format again. So that has been kind of the week. Dave, what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, it's been a super crazy BLAST 6. I didn't expect to not see Tundra win, or not see Tundra at least in the grand finals. That was like a shocker, I guess, not only for me, for everyone else, maybe even for Tundra. And then we had quite interesting upsets, right? Pandora with NAVI there in the finals.
I think Navi and OG getting as high up as they did in the first place, and kind of seeing a bit of that reminiscent, nostalgic, fun stuff going on. Yeah, Navi's team, whole academy type of stuff going on,
Obviously, the craziness of an all best of 5 playoff is just wild to see. But as soon as the tournament ended, BLAST went ahead and decided to change to a double elimination bracket for BLAST 7. So yeah.
I appreciate, while I think a best of 5 was ridiculous, even everybody saw that right in the beginning, I appreciate they at least tried to take initiative and do something based on the feedback they were hearing. And I'm so glad they quickly changed it back again based on the feedback. Like, at least you can say, for nothing else, BLAST is listening and trying to adapt. So kudos for them for that. But what a disaster that was. I mean, that was just what, and like they all went to best of 5 almost. Like,
my only regret from all this is that we didn't have a BO7 grand finals for the entire Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, it's a few times in a lifetime that you get to see that. We had like 3 of them, I think, in Dota overall in 2 decades. So
yeah, I was taking a look at Reddit this morning, and the feeling is pretty much all over the board. Like, everyone wanted a BO7. So maybe we would actually get to see another one in the future, hopefully. So, but yeah,
I could go for a BO7 for like TI and these big things, but I think
EWC.
something like BLAST though is kind of like, I don't know. Is it worth? Is there enough on the line? Is there enough stakes? Is the storyline enough of an important thing for something like BLAST for it to be a BO7? Like, I feel like
it's for the show.
Yeah, but I guess with the teams looking to travel straight away to DreamLeague, maybe they were like, okay, maybe best of 7 might be too much.
Can you imagine like 9 hours of Dota in a Sunday?
What do you mean? That's a normal Sunday for us.
Oh, well, okay, but playing Dota and watching Dota.
No. Come on. Or do you so easily forget about all those qualifiers for TI that were like back to back? Like, you literally would have to finish the qualifier 1, and if you didn't win, they would finish at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then jump back in first thing in the morning, like 9 a.m., and have to play again the next set of qualifiers again. Like, these guys were playing qualifier after qualifier for TI for so long. This is just, reliving the glory days.
So let's get into BLAST Slam VI and see what actually happened.
Oh, but as you said, Pedro, at the beginning, Liquid did win. And I think this is, the stepping stone or the mark where you say Liquid is here. Liquid is ready for TI, or they seems like they finally found their groove and their footing, and they start to understand each other in terms of gameplay and everything, which is exciting. It's exciting because they had a slow start with the new roster, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's so sad because, I've been saying for months, and we have actually had this discussion internally in Discord and stuff, like, Liquid, again, on paper, should be the best team in the world, or like one of the best teams in the world. Of course, it's discussable if you like maybe Spirit. It's all right. It's a very good team if they had all their players playing. But Liquid is it's a very talented group. right? It's a very solid group, and they just hadn't been performing as they should for a long time. They even had like some pretty early eliminations. They didn't got to playoffs in a couple of events. Actually, it's not like just a one-time thing. And I don't know. Since the replacement, since after Ti and after Insania and Saberlight left the team, I just feel like they were, missing something.
They
I
were
don't even
missing
know
Insania.
what.
And I think we talked about this in the last podcast that was exactly like what the thing was. Insania was much more important in the flow of things than, maybe people necessarily gave him credit for, until then. But we did say also once, you were missing Insania, and then tOfu had to step into a role he wasn't normally in, and the captain role, like, so a position and a role, change for him. And the duos, we talked about the duos and stuff like that, having played together for so long in their lanes and everything like that. So those things had to readjust. And the consensus in this podcast and on this panel was that they would, once they found their footing and kind of adjusted and found that synergy, that this team could go far. And lo and behold, right after we spoke about it, that's exactly what started to happen. And Div had spoken to tOfu during that event, and he also echoed exactly that in his interview, that they were starting to find that synergy, and he was starting to find what their play style and what everybody's roles and heroes and everything else were in their scrims and stuff like that. So I think that's exactly what we thought, and we've seen, it actually came to fruition exactly that way.
I will repeat the same exact comment you made in the Discord, that they're making us look intelligent, right? Because it is exactly what happened in the tournament and what we spoke about last, or rather 2 weeks ago.
No, hey, this is the second, because what I said that for was about Aurora, who also.
Correct.
So, like, hey,
Right.
we are batting like 100 here.
Yeah. But also, that's one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. Do you think that the BO5 system helped Liquid in this way? Because of course they are very like experienced players and have played for, I think, not Insania, Nisha and Boxy have played for like what, almost 10 years, more than 10 years together. So I think that having like this longer series will eventually like help them out. Of course, it's props to them, right? They're a competitive team, but I wanted your guys' opinions on this specific topic, because I think it's very, very interesting to go to have a deep dive on.
Definitely the BO5 system of playoffs would be advantageous to teams or to players with more experience, with many years, with many grand finals in their hands, compared to OG, who was not to take anything from OG. They are on a rise. They do have like two strong veterans there. But if you look at their, track history, there are not that many high stakes on stage grand finals in their resume. And one thing that tOfu actually said in the interview is that, because I asked him how he feels about the BO5 playoffs, right? It's unusual. You have multiple BO5s in a tournament. And besides the physical exhaustion that he briefly touched on, he also said something interesting. He said that he doesn't know how they will actually, feel at the end of the tournament, because playing multiple BO5s in a playoff, it means you exhaust all your strategies. By the time you get to the grand finals, you might not even have anything left, and you'll have to improvise, adapt to what you have in front of you, more than you usually do in a grand final last game or whatever, So I think the fact that Liquid have these super experienced players, along with Blitz, who, Jesus, I think he knows more than about drafting more than any of us together, and the people watching and everything,
All combined.
I think that, yeah, all combined. I think that helped them a lot. And probably there is also a bit of a, I don't want to call it luck, but the fact that they had OG in the grand finals and not someone like Falcons or, you know, someone that would be on the same toe with them, toe to toe, on preparation level and understanding the BO5 concept or, you know, the BO5 draw would maybe look different.
Well, it was Navi. Navi was against them in the grand finals. And I mean, look at that team. Other than Zayak, like everybody is 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, you know, in
Yeah.
Dota professional. They're only experienced with Navi Junior prior to this, and are babies, literal babies, you know, in terms of age and everything. Yes, you know, they have an experienced coach, they have, you know, an experienced captain, but you can't make that, you know, up for that gap in a situation like that. I don't think, you know, you need everybody on board to be able to tap into that experience.
I think there's a lot to say though as well that they did take down Falcons in what was actually an epic series, the quarterfinals, and I felt that I think that's where you saw Team Liquid coming together really well. 3-2 against Falcons in a full 5-game series, and it was probably one of my favorite ones to watch. So yeah, I think the team, as tOfu said a lot of times, like they need to start gelling together, and there's a lot that they're working on, but you can see it from that series alone. Maybe not so much in the semifinals and finals with the less with teams that aren't as good or haven't been on stage as much. Sorry, not as good. That's kind of rude, but yeah, I think we'll see a lot more now at DreamLeague too. So hopefully they can carry on this way.
Well, and that's the thing, right? We get to see all of this immediately after, like fluke,
Yeah.
no fluke, you know, how does one grow? What did they learn and everything? Like we get to see this like there, and then we get to see it immediately after. Again, we are just like on a run of things. So
By the way, one thing I would also like to mention is that last game against Navi, like the grand final, was like 32 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
they just won in like finger difference, you know. They were they just played so much better. Even like MiCKe did, I think it was 11-1. Yeah, 11-1, and Nisha 10-3. Like they just stomped the game so hard. It was actually one of the, I think, top 5 most like quickest game of the tournament in the grand final, which is not something we usually see apart from like play-ins or even group stage.
Just because you mentioned this last game, I don't want to look smarter or anything, but I think a lot of people agree that there was also a bit of a, not mistake, but maybe too ambitious last pick Ursa into everything that Liquid had. I mean, God the Juice had no chance in that game from that pick alone. Yes, Liquid look very good, but also I feel like NAVI cut their wings alone, you know, with that pick, and they had a terrible laning stage, which basically led to the result.
I mean, that goes to exactly what we said earlier. You said about, you know, tOfu and everybody saying about like you're exhausting your drafts, you know, by the end and everything. They went, you know, Navi went 5 games, you know, just before that. And now, you know, here they are again having to play all these games. And it's like what to pick now, what to do. And, you know, where are we at? What are we good at? And, you know, also some confidence coming in and, you know, maybe like, hey, let's give this a try. But like, but definitely think that, you know, that speaks again exactly to a part of, you know, that experience and so many games drafting and things like that.
That's one thing also interesting to take into account, that Liquid played a lot of just, you know, proven compositions. They played a lot of stuff that has been played for a long time, while other teams were trying to, you know, innovate and do other stuff, like Largo, for example. I was just looking at the matches, and I might be wrong here, but I just saw 3 Largo picks during play-ins and playoffs for Liquid, which is, I wouldn't say weird because it's, you know, it's Liquid, but a lot of other teams were like prioritizing Largo and, you know, trying these new things, while Liquid did stay for what they already, not what they already had, but like the more standard type of composition, the more standard kind of Dota. So that might have also played into what you guys are saying. Like discipline and experience and like not trying necessarily new stuff at the grand final.
No, I think they are super confident with Largo by now, or they know exactly what's going with Largo. But there are again a few things here. One is that in some games Largo got banned against them. Second is that if I remember correctly, it's just 2 or 3 days since that, but I'm already into DreamLeague mindset. They play Largo 5. They are not really core Largo team yet, or maybe Ace is not, I don't know. And yeah, the differences are quite big in terms of strategies and what you can do with Largo core or Largo support. But they didn't ignore it. I mean, they played it. They know what's up with Largo. They agree that it's OP. They know how to counter it. Just that those are just gatherings from the interview I had with tOfu, and I specifically asked him about Largo. I think they are up to date with the hero. Unlike, I actually don't know any team right now that would not feel comfortable with Largo at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a new hero comes out or Stranger Captain's Mode, and the teams obviously will start practicing it. And Largo seems to fit into so many of these teams in general. Especially, I mean, for Team Liquid, they have the Nisha Razor, which they seem to absolutely love. And I feel like Largo just backs that up so immensely.
Yeah, I'm just happy that Largo is getting played in these like big tournaments and big matches, because the hero is just so fun to play and just fun to look at. It's nice to see, because Raz was away from Captain Smart for how long? Like almost a year or more than a year. And then Largo was like a month. So nice. Good job, Bob. I approve.
Both still broken, but thank you.
Both still absolutely broken.
Yeah. So, other thing about Blast, Div, you wanted to talk about Tundra. What happened? How did the back-to-back champions got eliminated so quickly?
I mean, I'm not even sure I want to talk about it. No, I want. Because you see, you look on Wikipedia or whatever, you look at their recent results, and you might be tempted to see, oh, they are done, they are tired, they're exhausted. Oh, maybe a roster change will come based on this result. But I think looking at the bigger picture, Tundra is one of the most successful teams after TI without changing the roster or making a very small change. And they already had won 2 Tier 1 tournaments post-TI, meaning those Blast 4 and 5 will count for their TI invite, right? And it's very hard to believe that they will not get it, the TI invite, based only purely on those tournament victories and then a couple of top 6 finishes. What I think happened there is that they didn't put the same effort, as they usually do. Maybe they, I don't know, they got surprised here and there, and then they had this heroic play-in matchup. It's weird. Again, the group stage, there were like 4 or 5 teams. If I look, I
think it was 4
exactly,
that got the 7-4.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Tundra being one of them, Liquid being the other one,
and OG and NAVI.
And and Tundra and Liquid got sent to the play-ins to the head-to-head matchups with OG and NAVI. What happened in the play-ins is that they got this heroic team who was still living on the honeymoon. They focused all their bans and everything on TaiLung. And TaiLung is, he actually said, or better said, Coach Cuff said in an interview we did with them also at Blast, is starting to expand his hero pool. And I think for a while now, we will see 1 more tournaments where people, like big teams like Falcons, Tundra, will get surprised by this dude. Because, he's just entering in the competitive scene with kind of a puddle of a hero pool. Not his hero pool is a puddle. It's what
Largo.
Sniper Viper, Huskar, now Razor. Very easy to counter or to ban. But once he's adding 1 or extra 2 heroes, and he's not talking about, heroic is not showing them before tournament, they will catch people off guard with this TaiLung kid, who's absolutely amazing. And to be honest, I'm happy that we got to see more of them at Blast, and they got through those play-ins games with Tundra. And I think Tundra will bounce back super hard at TSL. If you ask me, I think this is where at TSL Birmingham, I mean, this is where you're gonna see their true colors.
No, I agree 100% because as someone from South America, of course, I was cheering for Heroic to win against Tundra, but that was an optimistic cheer. You know, I did not think they would be able to go past Tundra, so that was a good surprise, let's say.
Especially that they lost to Tundra in the groups, right?
Yeah.
So
Precisely, yes.
Yeah.
And going again after again against them and actually getting a win in a BO3.
Three.
That was BO3,
Yeah.
Yeah, BO3. Yeah. So either way, but it's nice to see. Yeah, and talking about young people, Pandora, you wanted to go over NAVI, which are this, you know, new players, or not necessarily new,
No,
but
they
young
are.
players.
They are new and they are young. Like they are both. Like this is the true testament of your academy team, and what you see from someone taking. They're all young. Okay, except for Zayak, because and he is the captain and everything. And Zayak is not just old in Dota standards because he's 27, so that is kind of old man Dota. But you know, he's been around since 2015 or so playing Dota. He's been to TI. He was with Navi at TI, right? So like
Yeah.
I mean, he was with Navi. He's been around. He you know, he's taken the reins basically, you know, like under his wing. He's taking this Navi because then he was not sent down, but he was, I guess, sent down. Feel bad saying that, but like, you know, down to Navi Junior. But then he kind of like, you get the feeling that he nurtured this group, right? Like because they were all together on Navi Junior. He was there. He would have been like, as the captain, the mentor, and things like that. And then they started to rise up, right? But all of them are only like got the juices 20 years old. You know, Niku is 17. You know, you have PMA 19, you know, everybody is like playing like, I think the earliest or so is like 2021 or something like that, like the longest any of them have been playing. Like it is just a handful of years. Like and it's all been with Navi Junior, all except for him. All of their career, all of their experiences, Navi Junior. So, you know, this truly is a, you know, build up from the bottom and nurture your own folks kind of a roster. And I think that like we're starting to see how that kind of pays off and how that could look, you know, for others in other regions, other, you know, areas or whatever else. I think it's what like Puppy used to like, you know, when he was on Team Secret, he liked taking people he could mold and he could work with and stuff. We talked about that like last time. And it's the same kind of idea, you know, you can take these young, fresh people, and while they have energy and vitality, and you know, they can do all sorts of things and maybe come with a lot of not intuitive, but like inventive, you know, maybe ideas on how to play or drafts or things like that. They are still moldable and they're still malleable. Like, you know, you can form them into things that you want and everything. So I think that like it's exciting to see how this could develop and where it could go based on these things. They really stood the test, at least in Blast. You know, they went the distance. They did 7-4 in group stage. Like we said, there was 4 of them that got 7-4, and they were one of them. They got lucky, I guess, in that sense that they topped the other one so that they were able to then go straight into the what was it, the semifinals, quarter?
Semifinals.
Yeah, they went straight into the semifinals and everything. And they had you know, a lot of long games. Like they had, even in the group stage, they had like an 83-minute game, I think, in the group stage. Like they had to play. They played a lot. You know, they got a lot of experience. They played a lot. They had many games that were 53, 55 minutes, 83 minutes. You know, over 60 minutes in the semifinals. You know, they had all sorts of time to have to learn, you know, how to adjust, how to kind of stick to, you know, their perseverance, the tenacity, the not throwing when you get ahead, the, you know, how to kind of not overextend after, all of these things they had to kind of, you know, muster through. And I think they did a really fantastic job. I don't think, and I think we're seeing this already even in DreamLeague, like, I don't think that they were like, say, on Team Liquid level, right? Where Team Liquid just needed to find their footing and then they performed, and that's their true form. I think for them, things just worked really well. They carried on momentum. They worked hard. They were in a zone, a flow, you know, and they have a lot of potential. But I don't think they're at the top yet. You know, I think that this is just, you know, it worked for them. They're working on things more. They have a lot to kind of still, they give their coach, you know, a lot of credit as well, you know, that he really helped and changed some things, because it was after he came along that they started rising up even more. And, you know, they still have a lot. They have a lot to kind of adjust to, adapt to, figure out and everything. But I think the potential is enormous. I think, you know, their fact that they grew together is going to be huge. You know, that they grew, that we always talk about, like the MiCKe and Insania example, you know, where, or tOfu and Ace, where they had all these years together to kind of form their chemistry and their synergy and their lanes and things like that. And I think that part of being in Navi Junior together for what, like at least a year or two that they were in there, you know, they are kind of building that as well and forming that kind of, you know, camaraderie and stuff like that. I think we'll see a
And I
lot.
think, this is a very good moment to also give a lot of credit and put the spotlight on CY, because if you come to think of it, this dude didn't get that much credit, or was not so generally accepted as one of the biggest or strongest coaches, just because he worked with Gaimin Gladiators, who had like all these star players, all super established. But he was the coach behind that team when they won 3 majors back to back and got to the TI Grand Finals, right? And now he's with Navi, and I think this is where you see his impact like right away. And yeah, I'm super excited to see where this project goes further, because as you just said, I mean, you just give all this information on the academy roster or varsity teams or whatever you want to call them in Dota, because we don't really have them, and there are only 2 big examples in recent years. Team Spirit, who came from Yellow Submarine, which is known as being Team Spirit's, you know, varsity team, the place where people grow and come into the tier 1 scene. This is the place where they kept Satanic hidden for like 2-3 years. Everyone was saying, look at this 15 years old kid, in 1 or 2 years he will eat you alive in Pro Dota. And it's exactly what happened. So yeah, we actually have only 2 big examples, if I come to think of it. Spirit, and who came from Yellow Submarine, and now Navi.
And interestingly enough, both of them being from the same region. So this is definitely kind of a regional flavor. China usually has a lot of their academy stuff too.
Not anymore.
No, it's been a
much
while,
more,
but you know, they had historically done kind of the same thing. But I mean, Navi hadn't won anything since what, like 2020 ESL Germany or something like that. You know, they got second place there. They didn't even win it, but they were in the grand finals. General Roger Vitoon, always want to fly, like this kind of a roster and everything. So it's exciting.
No, I'll tell you something. I looked when I saw Navi reaching the grand finals. I immediately went to look when did they last time won something, and I had to scroll so much that I got depressed, and I said, I don't even care.
Well,
yes!
I did look at least for the, like, I just looked for like the tier 1, you know, like under the tier 1s, and I saw second place was Germany ESL in 2020. So like, you know, I stopped there when I got that info. I was like, okay, this is enough. but I mean, it's, you know, it's an exciting thing to think. And if it works, and like you said, and Team Spirits worked and this works, maybe we'll see more of this start to kind of get adapted, you know, in more. I mean, VP has also the VP Prodigy and things like that going on too, but maybe we'll see more of it soon.
I just went and took a look The last time Navi won something was when Starladder was splitting. Starladder I-League Star Series Season 2 with
Season 2.
with Dendi, General Seneko, and
What?
Artstyle.
That was the last time they won?
A tier 1 event.
Oh
Yep,
my.
it seems so.
But see how we now like complete a full circle, because Starladder is kind of back also. I mean, they are back
Yeah.
in Counter-Strike,
Counter-Strike,
right?
yeah.
Hopefully they will be back in Dota 2 as well, and maybe
So is this a
you know, we
TI?
close it with
And then
Navi
Navi.
winning
Yeah.
another Starladder.
Or TI? Wait, well, let's go further now. And really
Dendi
close
comes
the
back.
circle.
We were talking about, the young teams and, academy rosters. And there's a lot to say about young teams kind of now, or young players, just doing so well. We spoke about TaiLung already. OG's roster currently is pretty impressive too. Obviously still getting up there, but considering their performance and, coming top 4 for such a big event, I think that these young teams and these young players are definitely starting to make a showing against the old guard. We wouldn't really call it the old guard, but yeah, the players that are...
I have mixed feelings here. Because OG is not that young if you come to... I mean, they have Scam, who is like, what, 20...
7. I was just
27?
taking a look.
Yeah.
They're all 24 except for Scam, who is 27. Yeah, so teams is 28, Niku is 25, Yopaj is 24th, and Scam is 25. I was just looking at it.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter at this point, because if you, I mean, when you just pronounce these names, Scam, Teams, Yopaj, these are players that have been in the scene for...
Since
God,
2016,
years,
2017, yeah.
They played in different regions. They played with, I mean, Yopaj had...
3 of them
like,
went to TI with Boom and stuff. Like, they've been to TI.
Yeah.
Like,
so they are super experienced players. I think they are just finding a good fit together. You know, they are finally finding a place and a team where they gel together very well and super fast. And I think this is something also that Scam said in his interview, right? Because you did that. He talked about the fact that they are very good friends and they needed no time to adjust to each other.
Yeah, that they spend a lot of time together and they know each other well and they just clicked.
well, 3 of them played together on Boom and not too long ago. So, it's funny. OG has this like power of friendship kind of, theme that they end up with on their teams and stuff like that. And it seems, maybe this is the power of friendship in SEA.
One Piece is the friends we made along the way. One Piece fans are going to hate me for that. Damn.
I like the narrative here. Like, I like the idea of this. Because, for example, we've talked about this at length internally. Like, OG is like kind of reborn in SEA, right? And getting this new roster with this new idea of not going for European players and stuff. And let's not even talk about OG Latam, okay? Please, that did not exist. So like this idea of getting these new players is interesting, and again, not new players as in new players to the organization. Is interesting because it opens a lot of doors for narratives, and as a content person, these doors for narratives are my bread and butter, right? Is what I live for. So I find it really interesting for Navi, for OG, for... I would love to say paying, but we will get to that. As a fan, it makes me really happy that...
Which is why it was so sad that Team Secret has now bowed out, because it's like, come on, do something. Get with the other guys, like OG and Navi.
Do you think, I mean, I like to think that in a parallel universe, Poppy and No-Tail played rock, scissors, paper for who gets the OG roster, for who gets this roster, and OG won, and Poppy said, okay, I'm closing the whole thing, you have fun with this, I'm going to coach.
So the question to kind of end this arc here is: do you guys think that Navi is a legit top 4 team or like top team killer? Or
I think they have the potential to maybe reach there, like, but not yet. I mean, I'm not saying it was a fluke because I don't mean that. I think they worked very hard and they put a lot in to be in those grand finals at Blast. But I also think they still have a bit to go before they're more consistent. I mean, look at Mouse, right? Mouse came in and was doing great, and they're just like this, like the whole way. You know, they haven't found a consistency and everything else either. You know, like I think that Navi needs to show that they can be more consistent, and I think they have a lot of potential. And I think, like Div said, Sai is going to be like CY is going to be like a big factor in that, and also Zayak, like kind of bringing them and mentoring them along for some of the other things. I know that they do have a psychologist. They had said Got the Juice had said in his interview that he's been working, I think, 2 years now with the psychologist because they have it for Navi, and so he was there getting it when he was with Navi Junior and stuff. So they have, a support system. They have the resources. There's a ton of potential for them to be able to go further. And the season is still maybe midway, I guess. Now that TI is in August, it's a bit closer, but it's still young enough that they'll be able to grow still a lot more, I think, by the end.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think there's still a long way to go for the team. And I guess DreamLeague might show a lot. DreamLeague Season 28, but also ESL1 Birmingham. They have 2 big tournaments, possibly a third with DreamLeague Season 29. So I guess we'll see by the time middle of the year comes if Navi do fit into that top 4. Let's call it a top 6 maybe, or if they kind of fade away a little bit as things change.
Whenever they say that the Dota 2, it's so top heavy, you look at who is top 4 or who should be top 4, regardless of Falcons or Tundra not winning or not being in the grand finals. You can't really put those below top 4 either, in terms of when you think in terms of TI or Esports World Cup, that these beasts, then Spirit, they all wake up. We'll see. Hopefully they sort out everything. I mean, hopefully they grow enough and they found the stability. I would so love to see Navi at TI doing well, to be top 6, top 4 there, to see a stadium reacting to Navi stepping on the stage, I think.
Well, and we didn't even talk about the fact of what's going on, that they have to play through mentally and emotionally with Ukraine and everything that they go through, and they're still showing up and they're still, putting their passion into place and working towards this and everything else that they have to. So storyline wise, and everything, like if they were able to kind of just reach, skyrocket from here on out and keep climbing up, get to TI even and everything else, like that's an incredible feat. And, I don't think that anybody wouldn't be proud of them for what they've accomplished at that point, and what they're even accomplishing now, of course.
just one last thing, I think that Blast, at least the group stage, the first stage of plays, was really balanced, if we can say that, because I'm just looking at the standings, and it's like the first 4 are 7 and 4.
Yep.
Then like 5, 6, 7, and 8 is between 6-5 and 5-6. And actually, the only team that's out of this kind of bracket is Reckonix, who was like 1 and 10, right? But all the other 11 teams on the tournament won at least 4 matches, which is something interesting, right? Because we have teams like Falcons losing almost half of the matches they played.
The games,
yeah. And then we got teams like Gamer Legion and Heroic, who would you think would not perform as well, winning almost half the matches they played, which is at least interesting to see. And we know that BO1s are not ideal, and that the format format helps a lot, but in either case,
I mean, come on, Navi opened up with a IO mid, you know, like and
Yes, the
stuff.
first game.
BO1s are just, you know, like let's just YOLO it. Let's go for some, you know, cheeky draft. Let's just see what we can pull off and do, like in terms of a format, you know.
Yeah, I think that's it exactly. It's BO1's just it might look super balanced, but it is also just teams kind of maybe you just don't know what the teams are going to bring in and what they play. The first
Exactly.
game of the entire BLAST 6 saw Gamer Legion beat Falcons. Like no one saw that coming, but again, best of one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but in any case, it's interesting to see that between the first and the 11th there's just 3 wins of difference, right? And that's interesting. Of course, there's the outlier. Always Reckonix in this tournament did not perform at all, 1-10 in group stage. But then from Mao's forward, I think, I mean, it was a fun tournament to watch at least, because it's a lot of upsets and teams winning, and it's not, I think it's just boring when you go to a tournament, it's just like 2-8 or something like that, or 2-9 in this case.
Okay, I will say that it's definitely was some very exciting games and some very interesting things. There was upsets, like it really delivered on that sense. And now we get into DreamLeague, which is just delivering on a whole nother ballgame.
Okay, so Crown Watch. This is the new segment where we will analyze if a team will keep winning or if it was just not a fluke, but if they're here to stay or if it was like a one-time thing. So my personal verdict is that Team Liquid will actually win more stuff and win convincingly, because if they have found finally their footing, I don't think, like, to be honest, I would say Falcons or Tundra are the ones to beat them, just based on experience and how well they can perform. But I've been saying this for months now, since they changed the team. I think that this team should be the best team in the world, no questions asked. So my verdict is that they're here to stay. I want to hear it from you guys.
I don't think anyone can argue or contradict you with this. I think this is the roster, it's locked in, you'll see it at TI, and I think they're gonna win at least 1 or 2 more tournaments from here on. If not, they will be at least in the grand finals. But yeah, it's extremely solid roster, no complaints about it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I don't think there's any two ways about this. I'm pretty sure that, especially with Blitz on the team as a coach, I think you can't really see Liquid suddenly falling apart over the next few tournaments. Yeah, like Div said, maybe not winning outright, but definitely top 2, top 3 consistently from my side, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing to add. Shocking.
Yeah, pretty good that we are in agreement. This doesn't usually happen, so good. Okay, so the takeover, the idea here is for us to spotlight one single player. And I wanted to do one player, but then the team agreed that we should maybe focus at least
Like
this
he's
time
stirring
around.
up drama right now.
Yes, I think we should talk about Niku, right? The 17-year-old kid from Ukraine who is playing very well. And he was actually the youngest player to ever hit 17,000 MMR, which is a lot. It's way more than I could ever dream of. And yeah, I wanted your opinions on this kid. I just think that he's very young, he's very talented, and I think in the next few years we're gonna hear a lot from this kid.
Let's look at him as a mid laner. Okay, firstly, just turned 17 like 2 weeks ago, so crazy young, absolute prodigy in the making. I think that what will probably happen as we see more and more of NAVI and Niku in general is his hero pool just expanding to whole new levels. It's not to say that it's a small hero pool right now, but I think that he has the chance to actually, like you spoke about TaiLung earlier and him expanding his hero pool. I think we're going to see the same thing from Niku, and he might just end up taking over that mid lane consistently and getting 4 out of 5 bans against him in some series.
I find it interesting, all these young prodigy players are always these mid lane players. Like super flashy, super, out there, main character energy and everything else. Like where's the 16-year-old support that just
hiding in the background?
It's all drawn to the, the flashy mid. But I mean, I think that's exactly it. Like there's that vitality, that main character energy, that loudness that they come with, and they come and they just put all of that into their gameplay. And I mean, it's flashy and it's fun and it's exciting and it's like this injection of like life, and I love seeing it. Like I can't wait to see where, I like to see like where they grow in that, like when they go from like the flashy, plays to the ones that really end up being more of the, like to enable the rest of the team to be able to also, succeed and everything else, not just, something flashy and fun, but, something where they can actually carry it as well and stuff. And I'd love to see like that growth and that evolution. So I'm excited to see where it'll go from there.
But I can tell you, I'm super much enjoying Niku right now. Seeing him going for a mid lane undying or of a mid lane IO. Who cares? It's not used. Who cares? I mean, seeing this type of courage, it's really refreshing, and you don't get to see it every day. I mean, yes. Of course, it's interesting to see when he matures and when he settles, and he realizes what are the heroes he can really make a difference on. But I also super love to see people not being afraid, just like, I mean, to me, it's always, I will always return to that first TI for Thompson. I will always return to that Ana IO, where they just said, trust me, I played this, I know this. And you don't see it too much.
I think it's very nice to see someone so young playing so well, and also it's his first grand final. Like this is actually the first time he gets to a tier 1 grand final, which says a lot. Like 17-year-old kid getting to a grand final and actually performing and actually playing like good Dota. I think it's just very good to see and very, very interesting. Anyway, we've talked enough about Navi and about this young people. So let's go to buy or sell and just read the statements. Okay, cool. So I'll start with statement number 1. You guys already know how this works. You have 3 buys and 3 sells for 6 statements. So number 1 is Liquid will win another tier 1 title before BLAST Slam VII in May.
Buy that. I mean, I can buy that happily. It's Liquid. I don't think I think I believe enough in this roster for them to come out on top within the next few months. So we have,
what do we have?
DreamLeague
We have
and ESL 1 Birmingham, and DreamLeague season 29 I think is after that.
Yeah, that's my question.
PGL.
We have a PGL. Yes, I'm buying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy. Yeah.
I think that's a good consensus. Buy.
Yeah, so okay, this is pretty much, I mean, we don't need to go over it. It's pretty much a consensus. So okay, let's go for a second segment. Tundra will bounce back and win BLAST VII in Copenhagen.
I don't think.
I'm selling just because I don't think Tundra is interested in another Blast trophy. It's like, seriously, they go there and they do their best with not overexhaust, themselves. I said earlier why I think Tundra is like taking a, you know, not a break or anything, but I think they are mature enough to be careful with their schedule and pacing through the season. And I don't think they're gonna win Blasts.
Yeah, I think it's the same. If we're only talking about a single tournament, just BLAST Slam, I think that Dib is right. Like, Tundra just might not care about another Blast trophy and focus on something else. Like, they might use it as kind of a stepping stone. Here we go, we're going to try out these new picks or this new strategy. But I think they just go throw what they can at it, and that's it.
Agree. I think they'll bounce back. They'll be on top again, but I don't know that it's going to be Blast specific.
Okay, so again, consensus. Everyone is on the same page here. So let's go forward. OG will win a tournament in a tier 1 tournament, that is, in 2026. So think a lot about this one, because this one might come back to bite your asses again.
God, we need the sells or the buys. I need to manage them.
Oh, wait. We're only at, oh my God, I'm just buying impulsively again.
No, everyone bought one. Yeah, everyone bought one and everyone sold one. So we are all on 2 tokens, if you want.
In 2026, that means even after in like December?
After TI, after EWC, after everything.
Oh, gee.
I'm gonna sell that one purely before TI. I just feel like they haven't quite got to the point of winning a tournament, like a big tier 1 tournament yet. But maybe after TI.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it like an investment. If it goes south, please, I'll buy it too. But I don't think. But I don't think it's gonna happen before TI.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. I'm on the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell that one because I don't think that.
Or if it's happening, something super weird in the scenes happens. You know, some teams fall apart just mere weeks before TI, months or whatever. Something super weird happens, and OG, you know, find their window of opportunity to win before TI. But
perfect. So next statement is Niku will be a top 3 mid by the end of 2026.
How are we defining top 3 mid?
Just performance overall. Like, if you think about the top mids, you think of Niku.
Yeah, the question is, if you think about top mids right now, who are they? There's Marlene, there's wow.
I just went blank completely. Who are the mid laners again?
Jesus, we are so terrible. No, but you have BZM, things like BZM, Marlene.
Nisha too.
Nisha, yeah.
Nisha, not to mention. I mean, I think he is the absolute best mid laner now. But my mind is Lard is on a break, but you cannot exclude. I mean, and he will be probably back for TI. Will Niku fit onto that? And then you have China.
Yeah, I was, and also I was thinking of Thompson. Even though it's not professional, Thompson is still probably one of the best mid laners. I feel. I mean, the first name that comes to my mind most of the time with mid laners nowadays.
It's hard. It's hard to put Niku in the top 3 by the end of the year. So I'm gonna sell.
Yeah, I'll also be selling that one. Oh, no, wait, that's my last sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we still have one.
It's my last one though.
Okay.
I have another buy.
I just sell everything. Damn.
Yeah.
The most pessimistic person. Damn.
You know, I'm selling this one, but I don't know where I stand on anything.
Just lost count.
Right. Next statement is the all BO5 playoff format was better for competitive Dota than BO3.
That's a sell.
For competitive Dota.
I think competitively,
like high stakes Dota.
I wouldn't.
No, because
yeah. Carry on.
Because it wasn't a high stakes event for it to be so high stakes to need best of fives, I think.
And
Yeah.
there is a reason that some tournament
They
organizer
changed it.
tried it and changed it. There was WePlay who tried it in some years ago, many years ago, and then some Chinese leagues. Oh, How many cells do I have left? Do I
Just
have
one.
any?
This
One.
might be your last one. Yeah.
Jesus.
Might be your last one.
Please, the next statement is good one to buy. I'm gonna sell.
I'm selling it too.
Unfortunately, I have to buy because I used all my stuff. Now I have to figure out a reason that I'm buying this. I guess you get to see more strategies from the teams, which is also a bad thing. But we won't talk about the bad side of it. I think you, as a viewer, you get to see more, which doesn't really competitive. I'll work this one out. Competitively, the teams can figure out strategies more and overcome those strategies against their opponents and maybe make a turnaround or cause an upset.
I know what's your what would be.
I just literally saw the light bulb go on for Div. So
Hear me out. As long as the teams manage to go to the 5th game, it's a 2-2 tie between them, then every single playoffs series and grand finals, it's basically a BO1, which is amazing for everyone.
Perfect. Yeah, everyone would love that.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Good. So just to be sure, all of you have to buy this last statement
Oh no.
because Jared only have one more buy, and you two just sold the last one. So whatever I say now, you have to buy it.
Okay, let's bring it on.
For next time, I will have this better sorted out because I would personally buy this one.
Okay.
So Falcons are not a BO1 team. They will keep underperforming in BO1 tournaments.
Oh, easily.
well, I have to buy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
mean-
not, what's the point?
Phew.
I think that one, yeah, that was a good one to buy. Cool. I think that one's fair enough. We saw it already happen at Blast 6.
That's
Not to say that
That's
they're a bad
four.
team, but yeah, not to say they're a bad team at all. It's just, I guess, BO1s just aren't their thing. They need a game or two sometimes to figure out their opponents.
Yeah, I guess there's not much to talk about here. For next time, I'll have this better structured to fuck you guys over. But
I felt
Can't wait for
thoroughly-
that.
Can't wait.
yeah. Okay, so let's go forward and talk about the event that is actually going on that I just saw Payne get brutally murdered in the series. So let's talk about DreamLeague 26 or 28 actually. Jesus.
Well, I will start with I'd very much like to understand tournament formats. I mean, I'm doing this for such a long time, and I still don't understand why do you do 2 group stages.
Both of them are round robin.
Round robins for both. Well, what's the point?
It's super honest. This is not a flame. This is not, I just personally, I have to understand it, and I can't. If someone can help me, please do so, because I'm pretty much lost with this tournament format, and I'm not even sure what to expect as an outcome from the group stages.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also just best of 2s for the first group stage, and then best of 3s for the second group stage. It's really weird to say these things out
Can I
loud.
say something? I don't even know if this is a hot take, but I fucking hate BO2s. Like, I cannot stand BO2s.
In theory, they don't even exist. There's no. I
Yeah.
mean, you
Can't have a
can't.
best of.
You can't have a best of in a 2-game series. So
Exactly.
they are 2-game
It's just-
series.
It's a draw. Okay, cool. Now what?
I cannot stand BO2s. Like, from a tournament organizer point of view, I guess it's cool because it's like not a big slot of time and you can have a lot of teams playing the same day, and that's cool. But like, from a results point of view, It's stupid. It opens to so many tiebreakers, and it's just like, I love ESL and I love DreamLeague, and I really wish they did the best tournament ever, but I cannot stand BO1s. I in my opinion, they're
BO2s,
just
yeah.
stupid.
I am going to propose that you do
BO2s,
a
yes.
whole podcast on tournament formats and structures, and you get like Knoxville in here to talk about it from a statistical point of view, and just lay it all out, all the different formats, all the different
You know,
competitive
in my opinion, the best format we have going on right now, and I know Jared wants to talk a lot about formats, but we will keep that in just for a bit. But I think that the best format we have going on is Swiss Stage, and maybe 3 up, 3 down Swiss Stage, or even 4. I think 4 is cool if you have a lot of teams, but I don't know. I cannot stand
No,
BO2s, and
Swiss stages make sense, but even a round robin with BO3s makes
Yeah.
sense. If you have like
BO3s.
I don't know, two groups of 5 or 2 groups of 6, bottom 2, bottom 4, whatever you decide as a tournament organizer are eliminated, and move on with your life. You know, but I'm looking now, so there's 2 groups of 8 each, and just the top 4 from each group will make it to the next group stage.
Right. Half of them will drop in this one,
Yeah.
and then we'll do a round robin again with half of the group, half of the teams.
yeah,
We're just whittling them down little by little.
Yeah.
right. So let's go over some of the results, some of the things that actually happened, and let's start with the big red and black elephant in the room that is Pain Gaming, right? How do I even begin
Ouch,
to?
ouch, ouch.
Yeah, how do I even begin to describe this? They played 2 matches and kicked Parker, and I don't want to be that guy. I really don't, because I am
The I
friends
told you
with
so guy?
yeah, I am friends with most of the players, and I know them personally, and I had Vintage come to my house sometimes, and I know these people like really well. But who would have guessed? Like, everyone knew this would happen. It's not the first time. It's not a first offender. This has happened in tier 1 teams before, and we are talking Secret, we are talking Heroic, we are talking now
Peru
Pain
rejects
Gaming.
again.
Well,
But Peru rejects once before.
yes.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, from a team point of view, the first 2 matches of Pain Gaming was,
Well, the first match.
well, yeah, the first match was terrible. Terrible. Like, there's not another word for it. It was terrible. Then the second match, to be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember even who they played in the second match. Then they kicked Parker, and for the third match, they did not connect for the first map and just got an instant draw because they won the second map. And like, if I was working at Pain, I would be banging my head against the wall. Like, to be completely honest. And I know people from Pain, and I know the players, and I know, again, I have close proximity with a lot of the factors going on in this specific team, and it's just so sad to see. But it's also, who would have guessed?
Well, I think the problem is, I mean, not even the problem, or what I'd like to know or have a discussion, or like with these organizations that keep signing Parker at this point, because Parker is Parker. I guess he doesn't care. He's not aware of what kind of impact on his career this has. Maybe he doesn't care about a pro career at all. Maybe he's doing much better and much more money from streaming and just being himself. But why organizations keep signing him? You know, why do you even bother with, and why do you always believe that you are the one that found the miracle, I don't know, mix or whatever, and will make Parker
gem.
work? The gem, yeah, no.
I don't care about the organization doing that because, you know, whatever, they think that they'll do. But why are these teammates agreeing to it? Like, when you know, because here's the thing, you know he's going to spend you spiraling.
Yeah.
you know, on some level, even if it's not in that particular game, then exactly when something like this happens, right? Then your next game, you have to like recover with a guy that's being incredibly toxic and incredibly difficult to work. Like we've talked about this before, like mentally, like you've got to like be able to kind of bounce back and have this like resiliency and everything else. And most people aren't going to. Let's face it. Like, you know, this guy is going to get under your skin. The situation is going to, you know, get you kind of spiraling in some way. Like, you have to be able to literally let it be like, you know, roll off your back and be able to set anew in the next game. And how many people can do that? Like, why are you agreeing to play with someone that you know is just going to like do this to you? I mean, it's bad enough when a player, you know, like a certain player, Bone Seven, right? Like he always would choke and stuff like that, right? Like it was bad enough when you would play and you're like, you know, it's gonna happen and everything else, and you take him, but at least you're like somewhat hopeful because it's just like about choking and stuff.
Yeah, at
But this
least he
guy's
was
like,
not toxic. He was
Yeah,
not
right, like
damaging
yeah.
the people
yeah,
around him
exactly.
mentally.
And you get like this false hope, like, hey, things are going great, you know, in our scrims and in our, you know, leading up to the playoffs or whatever else. But like with Parker, it's about his attitude. It's about it's not even just attitude, it's like certain behaviors, certain choices, you know, things like this that he makes. Like why people keep going and picking this guy up. It's the same, you know, it's the same as Demon. Did I say a name I'm not allowed to say?
Oh,
It's
It's a name I
it
forgot.
is
but
and it is. I mean, as bad as the
it's
situation
the
is
same
with
thing.
Demon, again, it's terrible, right? With Demon as well. I still don't think
Right.
we ever had a situation like we have with Parker. Nobody is on the same level of craziness, if you want, of toxicity and combination of things that you get to qualify to $1 million tournament, and probably he will come now with the next excuse, I didn't wake up, because this was in his speech before, right? I just didn't wake up for the team because I wasn't expected to play, blah 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 blah. I was just held them.
But that was Demon too. Demon missed because he was like, "Oh, I went to the gym."
Yeah.
And stuff.
But
Like, I mean, it's like we've seen this, and why people go with these players then? Like, it's
but
beyond my
that's exactly
comprehension.
it. Like we spoke about this before, and teams have spoken about it, players have spoken about Parker, and what made another team and what might make the next team think, oh, we can control him, kind of thing. So where is the line going to be when these teams are just like, nope, no more, please?
But can I point out something that really, when I heard that Parker was being benched, I was just like, dude, 2 weeks ago we had this interview with Vintage, right? And I will quote exactly what Vintage said in the
This is painful. This is
Yes.
pun intended.
For example, when Parker shows up late to a scream, the team doesn't get mad at him. It's like everyone accepts how he is and knows he doesn't do it with bad intentions. He's just Parker.
Yeah.
Let me just say something. As someone who has competed for some time, not showing up to a scream,
It's bad enough.
Yeah.
it's like, I would not trust this guy to hold a bag of sand for a second, you know, because
In contrast, where tOfu said in his interview, I have to be a role model and I have to show up on time and I have to do these things and I need to be a role model. Then we have Parker going, let me show you.
Do I
by
have
the
I'm
way,
here.
everything cited on this podcast is linked in the description. Okay, so if you want to take a look at it, please go take a look at it. But you're right, like,
We have lots of content for all of we have receipts everywhere for all this.
yeah, but like tOfu, like I've met tOfu a bunch of times and I have talked to him a bunch of times, and you can see how disciplined this guy is, how German he is, right? And it's just like the contrast here is just, it's mind-boggling. I cannot see, like, just imagine if, well, let's say in suppose again, right? Parker is unequivocally very good at the game. Everyone knows this. He's very good at the game. His problem was never in server. But then the dude cannot stand two units of matches with his team. It's not 2 tournaments, it's not 2 weeks, it's 2 matches. 2 BO2s to be exact. Like, I used to be the guy, and if you know Spanish, go take a look at La Sopa, which is my other podcast. I used to be the guy who was like, I hope Parker does well. I hope everything works out. I hope, like, my expectation was for him to be the best player in the world, because that would just open many doors to not only himself but to other Peruvian talent.
To South America entirely, yeah.
Yeah. But at some point, like, it just wears you out, man. And I'm at the point, like, I just do not want to see him anymore in a tier 1 team, because he's just hurting his teammates.
So here's the thing. Like, when I was in business management type of stuff, there was a book called The No Asshole Rule. And it basically took and would say that in a team setting, in a work setting and everything else, right? You couldn't have that one person who you tolerate just because they're this like genius level worker or anything like that, if they were going to be a jerk. Because the impact financially, this was from a financial and business perspective, right? So financially, you can't take the impact just because somebody's a genius on the rest of the business, because it costs, the cost ratio was 1 full year of a salary is what it costs when you have one person who is like this jerk, this asshole, like that is in your setting. Because for everybody, for turnover and then rehiring and then retraining and all of these different kinds of things, it costs like basically 1 year's worth of a salary to keep that person on board. And it's the same, like, and this is an objective, like, this was a study, this was like across the board. So if you look at it, like, Parker's play would have to be more than 1 year's worth of salary worth to keep him on a team, because that's what it's going to cost you to have him on the team extra in addition. And like, I don't see where across the board that makes it worth it, like in your genius level or anything else, because what team, especially when we're talking about the resources being so limited in South America, and you know what they can have available and make back up in tournament winnings and in sponsorships and everything else, that you can waste that kind of money then on just having him in the team.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't exist, that reality.
One thing I do need to point out is that, for example, Spain doesn't necessarily struggles with money per se, because they are like,
No, but does anybody have a year's salary to just throw out?
No.
You know, because you're going to deal with it.
I know. But what I meant is, Spain not having to worry about money means that they are structured, right? They are probably the most structured. I wouldn't say the most, because there's Furia, but one of the most structured teams in South America. And then you get a guy who plays 2 matches. Can you imagine Thomas and Pada, who are the CEOs or like the owners of Spain, that love this game, that played this game competitively for a long time, God knows how long ago, but played this game, and then getting this guy and like, let's bet for him again, like, let's do it, let's send him to Serbia to play this tournament, for him to play 2 matches and get benched. Like, I cannot imagine the frustration that this organization is going over right now.
But I mean, that's exactly it. Like, you're paying for all of these things. Like, you're paying, you know, that much money. Where does that make sense for his genius that you're not even getting after, because nobody or he can't deal with, you know, staying on. And
I don't know if it's like there's too much pressure or he just doesn't care. Like they've said, maybe he just doesn't care. Like, he doesn't see that he can make a name for himself in the competitive scene, and instead he's just focusing on streaming or whatever it might be. to
I mean,
go
it's not
through
the
this.
first player, to be honest.
No.
I don't know if this is the case. I'm not saying this is the case for sure, but it's not the first player or competitive high-profile player even who would drop from competitive scene because it makes more sense to just stream, have a very relaxed, casual, or not so demanding schedule. One of the examples that comes to my mind right now is Diraccio, right? Who was at the very top. Nobody could complain about him in any aspects, and at some point he said, wait, I'm doing much more money from streaming. Although he was winning all these things, he was already, he was Gaimin Gladiators scary.
Yeah.
I don't know if like, not to say that the analogy is wrong, but I don't know if it's comparable. Because if you see Parker's situation, and I don't know, like, I know he does well money wise. Okay, I'm not going that direction, but like, Diracho has thousands of people watching him, and like, he won everything for a long period of time. What did Parker ever win? Like, he has a good salary, maybe like considerably, but it's like, it's not. Also, his streams, like, maybe he gets 1,000 people, 1,500 people watching him, which is good. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not 10K, 15K.
Well, and he will not get over that too far because he's not streaming in English, right? He's still locked in the region in terms of content.
He even says he's too lazy to learn English and stuff. So
yeah,
he was telling Slacks that recently.
I don't know. I mean, for me, and I've said this for years now, that I've been inside of the Dota community, especially in Latin America. Parker, I really hoped that Parker just blew everyone away. Like, he just was the best player in the planet, no questions asked, and that he did well, and that he maybe at some point in the future he would be like, yeah, maybe I should have cherished my opportunities a little bit more. But I just don't think there's a time now. And I think, like, even on the interview with Vintage again, he said that Parker respected Schofield, and that's why he played well, and that's who he was like taking as the captain of the team. And captain, like, air quotes here, because I don't know what's actually going on inside the team. I'm just telling from what I heard, right? But I don't know. It's just so sad to see.
Well, and Schofield is playing and was gonna not play, right? He was like
Yeah.
getting ready for retirement and things like that. And then he's playing now. I mean, I don't know him or anything, but I mean, can you imagine like what's going through his head right now is like, really, I stick around for this, for this crap, for this nonsense, for us to just bum out, for us to, let's face it, be humiliated, I would think, because I'm sure all the other teams, their press, all of the stuff is kind of like,
mocking them
somewhat
at some point.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I stuck around for this, I mean, I can't imagine like some of these things that are going through their heads. And then we're gonna be like, oh, are we shocked that they just completely fumble in any of the games after this? Like, you have to, like I was saying, the resiliency and stuff. How do you bounce back? Now you have to get a quick stand in. Now you have to bounce back mentally from all that's going on. And where's Parker now? Is he still at the house with them? At the boot camp and in the room with them?
Technically or theoretically, Payne are somewhere in Europe boot camping for this, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, and so where's Parker? Like, is he hanging just behind them the whole time still? Like all of the
Did he hang out
environment
too
and
late in the
dynamics.
night and not came for the OG match, or what happened there?
They had network issues. Meanwhile, it was just Parker pulling out the LAN cables.
Exactly, like, I mean, who knows what's going on in any of this, and to be surprised if they're not gonna be able to pull off a single win or, two or something like that is kind of expected, I guess. But it's a disaster. I mean, and it's just it's really it's sad more than anything. I mean, we're laughing in a sense about it, but like It's really sad. It's sad for so many people that are involved. Like it's a big ripple effect.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say this because I mentioned this last episode, and we will probably go over them again next week, just as a like results thing. But I am a Pain fan. Like I am actually a fan that have been cheering for this specific organization for since 2011, so 15 years now. Or 2012. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just wanted them to kick ass, you know? I wanted them to actually go into the tournament and not I knew they wouldn't win, right? But I did not want them to come last. And
And
it's
not
just
like this, even if you come
Yeah.
last, like the Reconix did, or even if you come last, you learn something from that, you adapt, you grow, you whatever, something happens to you. But
Yeah.
not like this, not like this. This is
Yeah,
the worst possible scenario.
it's so heartbreaking and it's even more heartbreaking because I don't want to I don't want to be that guy, but I knew this would happen.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
everyone
Well,
knew.
I mean, no, but that's why the first things you ask Vintage when you get the chance to interview them, is like, how are you working with Parker? What's up? Tell us
Yeah.
why Parker? Oh no, everything is good. Oh well.
And that didn't age well.
Anyway, there's a few other things to discuss.
Well, good news is, I mean, at least we can go. Good news is Aurora is still undefeated and
Yes,
continuing
keeping the
so we
record.
can- yes, they are
Yes.
still currently they're 8-0 now. I think
We were
as
right
we speak.
about Aurora.
Woo!
Yeah.
Again.
Anyway, so we are going to go over DreamLeague more in detail in the next show. Probably it ends on this weekend, right? So we are probably going
No, not this weekend. Doesn't it end?
Next
or the
weekend?
other. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we have a long
That
time.
sounds
We
so
have
long
lots
ago.
of groups to do.
Yeah. So we will go over DreamLeague again in the next episode. So you can, if you want to hear about DreamLeague, be sure to pop into the next episode. We still need to discuss one more team before closing this episode, so let's go forward with it.
Yeah, so the next thing, or the final thing, I guess, we're going to discuss is BLAST Slam VII. Coming after BLAST Slam VI with a playoffs just full of best of 5 finals, we now have a double elimination bracket again, but also with a bit of a change in the group stage and the last chance qualifiers. So glad they changed it. As we said earlier, finally they listened to us. It was really nice.
Yeah, and also I want to mention that we did the context caps precisely on this, and now I probably have to do another context cap precisely on this again next week. So I don't know.
Keeping you busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least that. So do you guys think that this new format is actually better? I know I do, because I just like double elimination, but I wanted to hear your guys' opinions.
I definitely prefer double elimination. Oh, well, I don't think there's saying that I can prefer best of 5s for an entire playoffs, but double elimination is definitely better. I'm kind of still confused as to why they decide to now put 2 eliminations in the first round, or the group stage, instead of just leaving the group stage as it was with, all teams go to the last chance play. Well, the lesser teams go to the last chance playoffs. That's the only kind of question I have here now for the 2 eliminations early on.
Overall, I think it's good. I mean, it makes sense in the format, let's say, but at the same time, I don't really think it's good for the competitive environment, and even for the viewer, and even for the team who gets to do this. But the top 2 teams from the group stage get a bypass to quarterfinals. This means less games. Yay. In a way, as a team, as a player, you're happy because you have less official games, more time to prepare, to rest, blah blah. But if you interview or talk to any possible player out there, they'll tell you they actually like when they have more games, because you get momentum. The more you play, the more you understand your the teams you play against, and so on. And we just saw at Blast that neither Navi nor OG won the tournament, although they were in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, how many lower bracket runs and stuff like that have we seen
Exactly.
in Dota? Yeah.
So this is a tournament with a lower bracket, with a double elimination playoff bracket, yet with two teams reaching straight into the quarterfinals, which is a bit... I don't know how good it is actually for those two teams to have like 3-4 days break until their matches resume, you know, until everyone plays lower bracket, upper bracket, first rounds.
To be honest, I prefer this this format just because it gives I think it was how many new matches? I think it's like 30 something new matches
38
in this.
yeah 38.
So it just gives you a lot more Dota to watch, right? And if you're a fan, then great. And if you're a player, also then great, because you can play a lot more. And I don't know, for a tournament organizer, Jesus Christ, yeah, for a tournament organizer point of view, I think it's just cooler to have this more dynamic format, and you can have more storylines like the lower bracket run, or going all the way to the final, then like upper bracket final, then dropping and winning. And there's a lot of interesting stuff you can build out of this format. And I just think I don't know, to have everything be a best of 5 is counterintuitive, because then what's the difference from the final? And I think that the final needs to have this kind of like a little bit more of taste, you know, a little bit more stuff. And of course, with it being not a best of 7 in the grand final, and it's just like another match. And
well, and I also think a best of 5, you know, like we were saying, players like to play, you know, the more matches and the momentum, and they can figure out their opponents and things like that, or the meta or whatever as they're moving along. But a best of 5 is just against the one team. You know, it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm playing more matches. It would be better to have more best of 3s, you know, leading up than 2 best of 5s, you know, because now you're just against the same team now, rehashing and redoing, like you're trying to, you know, pull from only specific drafts or a certain amount that you were able to kind of prep for that team specifically and everything else. And I think that, you know, it starts to get somewhat stale, or, you know, kind of difficult to maneuver through. There's a difference between evolution and growth and stuff that you can have in multiple best of 3s and playing them more often in various teams as well.
Thanks, Blast, for actually listening to what we've been saying, and not we, because we pretty much whatever
community.
What we think, but
yeah,
but like the community and the players more specifically, because the players are the ones that I think actually matter in this case, because, you know, pressure and exhaustion.
What do you mean, I don't matter in this?
No.
No.
But yeah,
you've used up all your buys and sells. Now we don't matter.
Yeah. You cannot argue with me anymore, because you don't have any buys. Anyway, I think that has been kind of it. We've covered pretty much everything that happened past week or so. So just a quick recap: we talked a lot about Blast. We talked about Liquid winning Blast, as I've been calling for many months. Tundra, who finally broke their back-to-back streak. And we talked about Navi, we talked about DreamLeague, and we talked about Bang specifically, which was not the script, but we ended up going way too much about them, which I'm happy with, because, you know, I am very passionate about this specific team and I want them to do well, and I will not go forward with this again. So yeah. And we talked about the changing of formats for BLAST Slam VII, which will happen in May in Denmark. So, any other thing I forgot?
No, but you know what? You just made me think. I'm kind of mad at Tundra for not winning right now, because if they did, they would have had 5 trophies, and then each one of them could have just put a trophy in their house and had their own trophy for the blast. And now there's just one player who doesn't get to take one home, and that kind of.
Who do you
sad.
think is the person that doesn't get one?
Who would not have been able to take it home? I am gonna say
Maybe it's the last.
Ari.
Yeah, it's the last who joins. It's last in line.
Yeah. Ari, because he's also like a proper Britishman, right? So he's gonna be polite and be like, "No, it's okay. You can."
So
You
we
can have it.
take it.
we're saying
It's-
that they're
yeah.
gonna win Birmingham, and he's gonna get to take that one home.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
a
know,
big
but it has
one.
to be the blast. But it has to be the blast
Aw.
ones. Like they have to have the collection. So
So you should have bought that Tundra winning Blast 7 just for
Yeah.
this picture.
yeah. So I hope they heard and realized their mistake, and that they need to get at least one more so that they can each have their own trophy on their mantles at home, and then that's okay.
Good. So the advice is, Tundra, please win another Blast Slam.
Right. So Ari can have a trophy to take home.
Correct. So without further ado, so please, dear listener, please go to the description, read everything we've mentioned in this show, because there's a lot. We have been producing a lot of interesting content and a lot of very good stuff, actually, that I would like to read as a reader. So remember to follow our socials, follow our personal socials if you want to. If not, then follow ready.gg socials, which would also help a lot. Next week, I think we're going to talk about DreamLeague and maybe a PGL preview. So that's it. Thank you for listening. Stay ready, stay informed. That's your win condition.